sing it. Let it ring out so we can overcome someday. Yeah. Deep in my heart, I still believe that, listen, we shall overcome someday. Somebody sing, clap, we shall. Let it ring out, people, that in spite of what it looks like, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep. Yeah, it gets lonely, but I still believe that. Yeah, we shall overcome someday.
Welcome, family and friends. We're delighted that you have chosen to join us. We're dedicating this broadcast to the family of Robert Board Green, father of Julian Green, Rainbow Push friend, supporter, and Vice President of Communications for Chicago Cubs. Thank you to all of our sponsors, our supporters, our parents, our students, all of our participants, all of our volunteers, and the staff for your support and participation in the 29th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Push Excel Scholarship Breakfast, Sketches of a New Legacy, we held on Monday, January 21st at the Hyatt Regency Chicago. You can still make a contribution. Call us right now at 773-256-2775. We have get well wishes to Frank Robinson, Honorary President of the American Baseball League and only baseball player to win the MVP honors in both National and American leagues. Give him a round of applause. And even on this cold day, we are sending our condolences to the family of Clarence Wade, a former black man pushing. He used to be here every single Saturday when he was able. Rosalind Teborg of Pennsylvania, she's a historian who recognized black suffragettes. And then Mike Ledbetter, blues singer and musician who made his transition at age 33. Kevin Barnett, comedian and co-creator of TV's Real, 32 years old, made his transition this week. Want you to save the date, our Rainbow Push Citizenship Education Fund's 22nd annual Wall Street Project Economic Summit in New York will be February 20th through the 22nd at the Sheraton Times Square Hotel. Wake up early, get your information on your way to church. Listen to Keep Hope Alive Radio at Patriot AM 1150 with Reverend Jesse Jackson, co-host Santita Jackson, every Sunday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. You can listen on WVON 1690, and you can check your local affiliates for more information. You can find us on the internet on iHeartRadio at www.keephopealiveradio.com. Do not forget to stop by Pearls if you're in the city of Chicago every Monday night at 6:30 p.m. and have a live Facebook conversation with Santita Jackson on Let's Talk. The Freedom Store is open. If you like my t-shirt, my sweatshirt, it's cold outside in Chicago. You can get you a hooded sweatshirt. You can be looking like us. The t-shirts are here. The hoodies are in, the books, and you can still get some copies of Mrs. Jackson's first book in the bookstore. Call us at 773-256-2775 to order your shirt today, or 773-256-2700. We are broadcasting on WVON, iHeartRadio. If you can't come by, you can tune in. You can watch us live on the Impact Network, and you can go to Facebook Live and see us and we're also live streaming. You can go to rainbowpush.org and figure out how to connect to us. Tell your friends that's how they can connect. You can follow us on Twitter. Tweet up with us on Twitter at Rev J Jackson, at RPC Coalition, at Push Excel. Follow us on Twitter. Then friend us on Facebook at Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., Rainbow Push Coalition, and Push Excel. 3 Facebook pages. You ought to be able to reach us on one of those pages. You can follow Reverend Jackson on Instagram and Periscope at Rev J. Jackson. Wake up early on your way to church. Keep Hope Alive Radio. And then don't forget to stop by Pearls. And then many of you have heard about Mrs. Jackson taking a group to South Africa. You'll see more about that in our weekend review and our announcements. I want you to sign up. It's a historic trip. You don't want to miss it. There are so many ways that you can support Rainbow Push. You can become a member. You can call us right now, 773-256-2775. If you don't want to call us, you can go to rainbowpush.org and you can hit join, donate. You can become a part of this movement. Well, if you don't want to do any of that, you can go to Amazon. You're shopping on Amazon. I know you're getting your stuff on Amazon. Well, then why don't you just go to Amazon Smile and you can make a donation to Rainbow Push while you are shopping. It won't require you to do anything extra. Well, so much for all of that. I want you to wish a happy birthday to our own Belvon Walker, our own Brenda Morgan, and our own Vanessa Alsop. They had birthdays this week. They are a part of our family. And now turn your attention to the video. A week in review, letting you know what happened this week.
#SMF Weekly Update.
The 29th annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Push Excel Scholarship Breakfast was held on the national holiday of our Drum Major for Justice at the Hyatt Regency, Chicago. Its theme, Sketches of a New Legacy, painted a vivid landscape that there are no more impossible dreams.
Our robotics programs are equipping our students with the skills needed for tomorrow's world today.
Ain't I a woman? I see the face of America. Red, yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight.
Work hard and do what you are supposed to do. You should be able to build a decent life for yourself and an even better life for your kids and grandkids.
The longest government shutdown in history is over.
I am very proud to announce today that we have reached a deal to end the shutdown and reopen the federal government.
At least temporarily.
And we don't know exactly when our paychecks are going to catch up. And then having another 3 weeks where we're worried about being in the same situation we're in now.
We stand with and applaud the 800,000 American workers who ended the shutdown. Federal workers who have been furloughed or who had worked without pay after missing their second paychecks since the shutdown began 5 weeks ago will receive their back pay immediately or as soon as possible. It took 35 days, 2 missed pay periods, 40,000 delayed immigration cases, federal workers resorting to food pantries, and 1 hour of halted flights at LaGuardia to end the shutdown.
Well, I can't assure the public on anything that the president will do, but I do have to say I'm optimistic. I see every challenge or every crisis as an opportunity to do the right thing for the American people.
What's next? We'll see by February 15th. Until then, we will continue to stand with the federal workers. Rainbow Push staff, led by Political Director C. Betty Magnus, attended for the rally at Federal Plaza in Chicago to support federal workers. Reverend Dr. Jeanette Wilson, Esquire, National Executive Director, Push for Excellence, and Special Advisor to Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., addressed the crowd. The workers' rallies and continued stance for what is right caused the government shutdown to end. We are giving the 150 $25 gift cards from Food for Less donated by Kroger. We stand with the government workers.
There's an ominous cloud of poison in America today.
Reverend Jackson and staff stood with the Toledo, Ohio community in the wake of racist acts at the General Motors powertrain plant.
The GM, and UAW have a burden on the earth. The cancer is eating away at the heart of the organization.
Rainbow Push, Washington, D.C. staff, spearheaded by Axel Adams and Steve Smith, held a powerful Faith in Action ministers' luncheon at the AT&T Forum where they disrupted the arc and spoke truth to power, honoring Vita McCoy and Pastor Granger Browning. Wow, this is how we do it. We are giving back. Robert F. Smith, philanthropist, founder, chair, and CEO of Vista Equity Partners, gave a $1.5 million gift to Morehouse College, HBCU. You know? Voting victory. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo signed a major voting rights bill into law that include early voting, pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds, same-day registration, no excuse absentee voting, combining state and federal primaries.
Back to work! Back to work!
Education victory. More than 30,000 LA public school teachers prevailed, but public school teachers and their students still deserve far more in this country.
For a 13-year-old to teach a whole entire college students, yeah, definitely impressed. 11.
Reverend Jackson said, "My mind is a pearl. I can do anything in the world." It's true. 11-year-old Elijah Persili will begin his first semester at the HBCU, Southern University in Louisiana.
I'm not just here part-time, I'm here full-time.
His course of study is physics. The sky is the limit. Please read and share widely Reverend Jackson's Sun-Times weekly column, "Common Sense is Now Perilously Absent in Our Nation." Join the movement. Join Rainbow Push.
And now we have a musical selection by Ashley Williams and the Rainbow Push Choir, "I Can't Give Up Now." Following Ashley's presentation, we will have Aaliyah Houston, an 8th grader all the way from Decatur Dentist Lab School in Decatur, Illinois, on the coldest day of the year. We thank you, Reverend Courtney Carson, for bringing her all the way here. And we're excited about hearing from Aaliyah. Come on, Ashley.
There will be mountains that I would have to climb, and there will be battles that I would have to fight, but victory or defeat is left for me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? Never said there would be trials, never said I wouldn't fall, never said that everything would go the way I want them to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel our hope is gone, I just lift my head up to the sky and say, help me to be strong. Oh, I just can't give up now. No, 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 no. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe it brought me this far. Oh, no, I didn't leave me
where there is so much racket there must be something out of kilter. I think the twist of Negroes out south and the women out north all talking about rights. Them white men gonna be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this they're talking about? The man over there says that women needs to be helped into carriages, and to be lifted over ditches, and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages, or over mud puddles, or give me any best place, and ain't I a woman? I mean, look at me. Look at my arms. I have poked and planted and gathered into ponds, and no man could head me. I can work as much and eat as much when I can get it, and bear the lash as well, and ain't I a woman? I have born 13 children, and seen most of all sold off into slavery. And when I cried, my mother screamed, none but Jesus heard me. Then they want to talk about the word, what's that called? Intellect. That's it, honey. What that got to do with women and Negroes' rights? If my cup won't hold nothing but a pint and yours hold a quart, wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my half measure full? Then the man in black there, he says that women cannot have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did Joe Christ come from? I said, where did Joe Christ come from? God and a woman. Men had nothing to do with him. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down, these women together, open your ears now, I said these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right upside again. The women are asking, and the men ain't got nothing else better to do but let us. Oh, Sojourner Truth ain't got nothing else to say.
Give her a round of applause. I thought that was Sojourner that come back from the grave. Unbelievable. Aliyah Houston, 8th grader, all the way from Decatur, Illinois. Our children can excel if we just give them the opportunity, the training, and the platform. And now we have a series of elections in the city of Chicago, and I'm sure there are elections around the nation. We have two of our candidates here today. We have Melissa Conyers-Irving. She hails from the west side of Chicago. She's running for city treasurer. Her husband is Alderman Irving on the west side. Give her a round of applause as she comes.
Good morning. We thank God for being in the land of the living. Good morning. Little Miss Houston, please, I have to get your autograph because I'm convinced you will be on television one day. And I want to be able to say I met her. Thank you so much, Rainbow Push, for having me on this morning. Thank you for the work that you do.
Push and we will be participating in a number of candidates forums around this city. You should go to them so you can get more information. And now the moment you've been waiting for, our national spokesperson is here. He has a lot to share, a lot of information. I want you to greet warmly our national spokesperson, Mr. Jonathan Luther Jackson. And after this musical selection, the next speaking voice you will hear will be none other than Jonathan Luther Jackson.
Come on, put your hands together. Jesus will. Who opened doors that I cannot see? Jesus will. Jesus will. Who make all your decisions for me? Jesus will. Oh, Jesus will. 'Cause when I'm in trouble, when I'm in trouble, He gives me a song. And in the night season, and all the day long, always been do right. Jesus will. I know He will because He said He will. I know He will because He said He will. He'll fight my battle if I can still. I can still. I know He will. Oh, help me sing. Oh, yeah. I know He will because He said He will. Sing, choir. Oh, yeah. I know He will. He said He will. He'll fight my battle. I can still. Oh, no, He will. Yes, He will. Hallelujah.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be with you today, back in my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson's rightful place. He is in Washington, D.C., resting. He's had a strenuous last 3 weeks. He went to Sweden to be a part of the Nobel Laureate Committee to lecture on the life of Reverend Martin Luther King on his birthday. You saw him this past week in Toledo, Ohio, and then in Raleigh, North Carolina, back to Washington, D.C., and he's traveled across the country. And I thank God for my father. He's moving along. I got back from Washington last night. I went to visit him yesterday in D.C. So thank God for continuing to bless him and giving him strength on his duty. As I stand in his place today, I asked him if I could share a few words with you simply on what the rich don't get. What the rich don't get is the topic of my remarks today. Thank God that the federal government shutdown is over, but the threat of a looming shutdown continues. And there are certain things that the rich just don't get. Jesus had 12 disciples, but there could have been a 13th disciple. Our scriptures say that there was a man that was well-versed in the letter of the religion, a man that was giving and sharing and caring, or it appeared to be. A man that was invited, so much so, into Jesus' discipleship. The rich young ruler was invited into discipleship. But Jesus asked him, Bishop Jones, to do one thing, because he could see beyond the facade. He could see beyond his name on buildings. He could see beyond his charitable image that he had. Jesus went to look at the rich young ruler's heart. And he knew what was more precious to him than even the love of God and religion. It was his wealth. He says, give away what you have and come follow me. The man, as the scripture says, turned away. He did not believe, he did not have the faith to know that God that gave him everything would give him that much more. He wanted to have the good name, he wanted to have the decor, but in his heart it was odious. All the things he had done for philanthropy, all the things he had said was really with a veil on his heart to simply prop himself up. What the rich don't get, what they don't understand. When our Secretary of Commerce, Mr. Wilbur Ross, says, why do the federal government workers need to go to food lines? Why don't they just take out a loan? Mr. Wilbur Ross, Secretary of Commerce. Let me tell you something that you need to understand. Most banking institutions now that we used to have 30 money center banks across the United States, after this great financial calamity and forced crisis, we have 5 major banking centers. There's more money now in the banks than in the U.S. Treasury. Banks have been shutting down, closing out their depository institutions in our neighborhoods. And many don't even offer a loan for under $5,000. And that is a payment against your check in advance. It is not available, it's not even been offered. But the rich don't get that. We can't go down and get a letter of credit off of our good name, uncollateralized. What the rich don't get, what Wilbur Ross doesn't understand is that we don't have banking entities offshore in the Greek islands doing business with Eastern European countries, taking oil off of the balance sheets. Like you, Mr. Ross. He doesn't understand that we don't have Trump Tower buildings where we have such fantastic lawyers that they have evaded the law, where they have documents of buildings that have been taking Russian money that they don't have to report. They don't understand that here in the city of Chicago, on our skyline where we have a Trump Tower, that he had that building built with Deutsche Bank money, where Kushner and others have a proprietary relationship. And so much so when the bank, when he could not afford to make the payments, this is President Trump, he said it was an act of God in the financial crisis on why he could not make the loan payment. What the rich don't understand. I remember being at an event in Las Vegas with one of the children of one of the casino owners. And so I'm feeling really good and happy, and there was a lot of very powerful, very rich people at the table. Wasn't exactly, I was the one that didn't necessarily fit in. Rich in character, but not in cash. And as idle conversation goes, the young man next to me asked me, he says, so what do you fly? I had just gotten my status upgraded where I could get on the little red carpet and go behind the little line and get a little extra coupon to get a cocktail or a drink or something. And the man said, so what do you fly? I said, I prefer United, but I like American. But Southwest is coming on. They've been very efficient. I'm liking Southwest a lot. And he was stunned. He said, no, like, what do you fly? What kind of plane do you all have? I said, oh, I've seen the magazine. I said, I do like the Gulfstream. I don't have one, but the Gulfstream, if I were purchasing one, that would probably be the one, or the BBJ, the Boeing business jet. That seems to, very nice. And I quickly tried to deflect away from that conversation. What the rich don't get. I live in the South Shore of Chicago, and I had the privilege of going to Northwestern in the North Shore, having come from North Carolina A&T. And North Carolina A&T, a historically black college, ain't nothing free at A&T. So by the time I got to Northwestern and I see on Friday afternoon they had TGIF, thank God it's Friday. And you could go into the student lounge and they had free beer and free pizza. Never got anything free at A&T. In the morning at Northwestern, you could have an honor system where they had pastries for donuts, which I do love. And they had an honor system. I'm like, what is that? You take the donut and you put in the box according to what you took out of the food tray with nobody watching. Okay. I like that system. They wouldn't understand when you're coming from A&T where your fees are high and the services are great, but the state has been cutting your funding off and you're trying to make it on ends when you don't have the billion-dollar foundation, where the titans of Chicago industry have their names over all of the buildings on the campus, where United Airlines, where all of the major corporations donate our money to that university. When you go up and see that beautiful park in Ravinia, why do they get a subsidy? Why do they get evenings sponsored? And there's no sponsorship from major corporations at Chicago State, no sponsorship from major corporations at the community colleges. It's our money that the CEOs have. And the children up there begin to think they are entitled. I had a Cricket Wireless retail chain. And I tried for many years to get them to sponsor Chicago State's basketball, considering we were 70% of their market. But the persons that were in charge of the market invested and sponsored Northwestern University's football season, and not Chicago State, where they got their money from. What the rich don't get, many of our persons in our workforce are suffering. 39% of women receive aid to families, and dependent children are also employed. $152 billion a year is spent on welfare programs supporting families of low wages. Over 50% of the fast food workers in our country have at least one family member that relies on at least one poverty assistance program. 6.5% of our full-time workers have participated in one or more means of means-tested assistance. What the rich don't get is that poor people work every day and don't have enough to make it. 43% of our Medicaid recipients are white. 18% are African American. 30% are Hispanic. What the rich simply don't get is that everyone needs some help. 36% of the SNAP program, that used to be called the food stamp program, but then the rich have a way of sanitizing words and have a supplemental nutritional assistance program. That's the food stamp. 36% of the beneficiaries were white. In Mr. Trump's petulant manner on trying to be bravo and stick his chest out and saying, I'm going to hold up the government. What he didn't realize is, you know the old story on who's most important. There was a great argument once upon a time. And the eye said, it's me because I can see. And the ear says, no, it's me because I can hear. And the nose jumped in and says, I can smell great things. And the mouth got to talking, and the tongue said, I had taste. And while they were arguing, the sphincter muscle started closing up. The eyes started getting a little blurry, and the ears went deaf, and the nose couldn't smell, and the mouth couldn't taste. When the behind closes up and you can't eat, when the money shuts down and the FAA can't fly, when the money stops circulating in the economy, you got to look bottom up. Trying to be kind. Catch me later on and I'll give you the rest. The rich, what they simply don't get. When you have these persons that are flaunting, using government assets and thinking it's their personal gain. When you have the Secretary of the Treasury, Mnuchin, with his wife trying to be a model, stepping off government planes, talking about $10,000 handbags, and not understanding that people need their check by the end of the week. And now look at the mess they've created 35 days later. The banking overdraft fees will not be returned. The credit scores that went down will not be lifted up. The eviction notices and late payment charges shall not be reversed. The money that you borrowed and had to pay some juice or some interest on will stay intact. The rich simply don't get it. Our Lord Jesus invited a rich young ruler in, but there are certain things the rich just don't get. Also in the book of Matthew, around 19th chapter, I believe, where they talk about what is the kingdom of God like? It's like a trader looking for a pearl. When you find that pearl, what are you going to do? What do we want? Are you willing to sacrifice? People want everything right now, right here. We don't want to invest. You want to go in business, and I encourage you. What's the first thing I tell young people? Before you write your business plan, save. Stop asking somebody for some money and you won't put a dime in it. Learn to save. It's worth the sacrifice. What the people don't understand about the rich, when the Jesus tells us that it'll be easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle, Bishop Jones, than for a rich man to get into the heavens. What is he really saying? He's saying that over time, those that have inherited wealth, that have never seen the floor, that don't know the names of the housekeeper, that have worked in their houses for 20 years, that don't have a sense of humanity, that don't know the name of the security guard that you see every day at your school. Oh, poor people can have the same disease too. Sometimes people say, Jonathan, why do you say hello and introduce yourself to the waiters at the table? And why do you try to remember their name? Are you serious? That person has our food. If I could get a copy of their driver's license and ID, I would do that also. Moving right along. Having some empathy, having some sympathy. Life is a gift, and God is the grantor of the gift. Some of the things that the rich don't understand. Watch the language of the rich in our court systems, which is very, very peculiar. My father has said it 1,000 times. Watch the language of the rich. And I have to give a very special thank you to the men and women of the FBI that were furloughed, that volunteered all 27 on yesterday to wake up Mr. Roger Stone and bring him to justice. Nothing like volunteerism. Furloughed workers, all 27 volunteered to help him out and give him a free ride. The language of the rich, Ms. Shackelford. The poor get subsidies. What are subsidies? Subsidies are when someone is going to build on our county hospital, and they're going to get $1 billion of private sector financing. And then when you ask, why are you putting $1 billion into the county hospital for that facade of a building? And they said, it's been raised with private funds. Now, what they don't tell you is that the county will be the major tenant in the building that will pay for the office building, that will pay for the museum, that they can then get the loan against going for the hotel, and black folks don't own that building, and the county's going to pay all the rent for that building. That's not private sector. In fact, that's the county that's paying for that building. That's our money, and we deserve to have our fair share. What the rich don't get is they get a subsidy. And then if someone needs to go by the WIC, the Women, Infant, and Children's Program, that's called welfare. How demeaning. The rich, as we've seen in these mortgages, they said there was some embezzlement going on. And we've seen a woman just in Cook County Jail this past December that got out, that was bailed out by my father and Mr. Willie Wilson, for stealing $10 worth of gin. So she was stealing, and the person that took your house was embezzling. When the rich have a problem on the North Shore and in the white schools, it's called a substance abuse. And when you see people that have heroin addiction, they're called drug addicts, crackheads in our neighborhoods. Well, you've seen the show. You know why they have to say everybody loves Raymond? Because they don't want to be offensive. But then they come out with a TV program where everybody hates Chris. You find that funny. You see someone that might have had an affair with the president. She's an adult entertainer. Someone else would have been picked up for prostitution. Other persons that might have had alcoholic as an addiction. And if you come to the South and the West Side, you are a drunkard. Look at the language. Do you know rich people don't have life insurance? Why do you need life insurance? Life insurance is for when you die. But they couldn't sell death insurance. Nobody would want to buy it. But the rich have enough to buy the lot, buy the plot, put it in the grave, and pass their money on to their children. So when you get to a certain point in wealth, you don't have insurance. You have enough money to bury yourself. Listen to the language. When you see the New England Patriots, the Belichicks, oh, I gotta call it, because if you touch that quarterback's shoulder, that's an automatic first down in a contact sport. And then you want to take away Derrick Rose's honors for college when he went to Memphis, saying that he might have done something unscrupulous on the ACT, but when you deflate balls and you read people's lips and you steal people's plays, you get to keep all of your titles. Something's wrong. Look at how black quarterbacks and white quarterbacks are described. White quarterbacks are called intelligent, precocious, sagacious, has a good command of the field, true leadership. The black quarterbacks are clever, kind of witty. He's a little slick and slippery. He's cagey. You can't quite get your arms around him. The language of the rich versus the poor. We've got to go into this so we can get to the heart of the matter. So when we talk about what did Roger Stone really say? Roger Stone, you know you don't talk after your lawyer has spoken. And I really don't want to do this, but I just have to. Since Mr. Trump is so good at calling names and joning, he would understand that on the South Side, that's what we do. That outfit that Roger Stone's attorney had on, didn't it look like P.T. Barnum with that black collar on it? Let me get back to my point. And did you see Roger Stone do this when he came out? And did you see him do this when he left? Let's just open this up for one moment. You know you don't speak after you've been indicted and arrested and your attorney has spoken, unless you're giving a press conference and you're talking to the man that is the one that they're after. He's a crisis manager. It's all in the skill. Open it up. What was he really saying? He was saying, Mr. President, they have discussed with me about you and collusion. Mr. President, I will not bear false witness against you. He did not say snitches get stitches. He says, I will not bear false witness. If they put this vice grip tighter on me, that might tell them something they want to know. What was he really saying? Everything that they...
Hi, I'm Todd Yeary here outside Dr. King's workshop at Rainbow Push headquarters, where people of goodwill from all walks and all places gather as comrades in the movement for justice and equality. Social justice movements have been birthed in the imaginations of people in places just like this. You can be a part of this justice movement too. Join Rainbow Push as we fight for justice in the 21st century. Go to rainbowpush.org or dial 773-FREEDOM, and remember, keep hope alive.
Let's talk about it. Join Keep Hope Alive Radio executive producer, writer, co-host, and journalist Santita Jackson and her friends at Pearl's Place at 3901 South Michigan Avenue, Chicago, this Monday and every Monday at 6:30 p.m., where they discuss the hottest topics and great food. There's a $9.99 buffet special.
Journey with us. We are returning home to South Africa in celebration of freedom and the end of apartheid. Register now to travel with Miss Jacqueline Jackson to South Africa, April 24th, 2019 through May 4th, 2019.
Get involved with the movement.
Somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Join the movement.
If you're not a member, become a member.
I am somebody. Fighting the most important battles for freedom and justice for all.
You made us change. Oh, trying to bring me closer.
Join Rainbow Push.
But you're not pushing me away.
Join the movement. Join Rainbow Push. Woo!
Trial. There was no evidence tying him to those murders. The John Burge took her son to Area 3. He had a pin in his leg. When they knocked him off the chair and he broke his leg again and the pin popped out, he confessed to anything they wanted to put in front of him. We're going to stand with her as she goes to trial. Jason Van Dyke, who killed a child, has been given every courtesy of law, as despicable as he is. And this woman who's fighting for her child has waited 29 years just to get a retrial. We're going to stand with you, Ms. Shackelford. Brother Mark Clemens. Mark Clemens, come here. The rich don't get that a man like Mark Clemens, a child that was 16, that couldn't read, was taken to Area 3 under Commander John Burge and tortured and was made to confess to a murder. And when all the evidence was in and they were going to overturn the case, the state's attorney, Anita Alvarez, sat on her hand and drug her feet. And in order not to give him a dime of compensation, they asked him, do you want to see your mother before she dies? If so, you sign right here, and that is the only way you can go. He said, I'll do anything. He's an innocent man, never got a dime. Forced to sign in order to leave to see his mother before she died. Miss Johnson, come here. It's what the rich don't understand. When I was building out wireless stores and I was on 26th Street and the police picked me up and put me in the back of the car, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a bad day for the Chicago police. You think you've got Jonathan Jackson, but you know, in the Middle East and Asian countries, in Middle East they have Ibn, you're the son of. So before I'm Jonathan, I'm Jesse's son. I'm like, just wait till my father hears about what happened to me. They put me in the back of that car for 45 minutes, and I'm still mad about it to this day. And that put a fire in me to want to fight for some justice. Because I know, but for the grace of God, the rich wouldn't understand that the poor are in our county jails. But you've got to stay strong. Miss Johnson, her son, I spoke these words. I said, what Commander John Burge did is wrong. There's a young man, Marcus Wiggins, 13 years of age. He was tortured by John Burge, and nothing ever happened to the officers that put that boy in, that had tortured that boy, and it was a $96,000 settlement. The next week, a woman came up to me, and she says, Jonathan, I'm Marcus's mom. I said, hello, Miss Wiggins. She says, no, I'm Johnson. My son is Marcus Wiggins. I said, pleasure to meet you. I said, how is Marcus? She says, fine. I says, where is he? What's he doing? How was school? She says, he didn't go back to school. He was scared to death. He became catatonic. He stayed in the bed with me. He wouldn't leave the house. And 7 years after the statute of limitations ran over, those same officers came back and conspired and put my child in jail for the next 40 years. The rich don't get it. So we're going to keep on fighting, and they know had this happened to any one of their children, they wouldn't sit still either. We don't want any settlements with any non-disclosures. Whatever you need to make your family ease some of the pain, take it. But don't sign a sheet of paper saying I can't talk about the indignation that has happened to my child. What the rich don't get. These people are not of my blood, they're of my spirit. These are God's children. You can't look past these persons looking for someone else. Have you ever noticed how some people ask you, so what do you do at a cocktail party or a function? I resent that question. First of all, I'm not doing with you, number one. And number two, what I see behind that in so many persons, not all, but in so many, you want to find out what I do. You want to judge me by the shoes I wear. You want to judge me by the suit I have on. You want to try to figure out the level of respect and dignity you're going to give to me based upon what you think I can trade and do with you. If you want to do something with me, you got to love my family members the same way that I do. You got to have respect for Gerald Reed and Miss Shackelford. You've got to love Miss Johnson. You got to love Brother Clemens. It ain't about the money. We're rich in God's eyes.
Come on, put those hands together like this. Listen, people keep on yawning, yeah. Come on, soldiers. Keep on walking, world, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Somebody needs to hear now, come on. Powers, keep on lying to me in my face. My people 'cause it won't be too long. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you let me try it again. Last time I'll never leave the whole world of sin. So me that I know more than I knew then. We got to keep on trying till we reach high ground. Yeah. Listen, go ahead with us. Say higher, 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 oh higher, higher, oh higher, higher. Oh, so glad that you let me try it again. Last time on earth we lived the whole world of sin. So me that I know more than I knew then. We got to keep on trying till we reach that higher ground. Higher ground.
Will all of the government workers who are here today please stand? All of those government workers, won't you come to the stage? We're going to protest with the government workers this coming Thursday. We'll be at O'Hare Airport with them. We have some coupons for those workers. If you will come up here, we're going to pass them out, and Jonathan's going to return to the stage and join us. This is just something to let you know that we care. It's not to cover everything, but it'll help you know that we love you and we support you and we are fighting with you. Tell us the status.
You know, I thank God that the government's back open. I thank God. I just want to say, you know, let's give us federal employees a big welcoming round of applause, because these men and women has fought every day, went to work without pay every single day. 800,000 people can now pay their mortgages and rent. 800,000 people can now go out and buy their own food. 800,000 people will now get a paycheck. That's a great accomplishment. So we want to first say thank you to Rainbow Push, Reverend Jesse Jackson and the Jackson family. And these are the federal workers right here. We have the president for TSA here. Where is she? Right here. We have the vice president. We have other federal workers here. Yeah, so they're going to step up and introduce themselves, starting with the president with TSA.
My name is Janice Casey. I'm the president of Local 777 for AFGE, representing all of Illinois' federal employees for TSA and Wisconsin.
Good morning. First, I want to say thank you. My name is LaDonna D. Shazier. I am the Secretary-Treasurer of Local 777, and I also work for TSA at O'Hare Airport. I've been an employee for going on 17 years. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Darrell English. I'm the Vice President of TSA, AFGE, Local 777, and I'm glad for you to invite me here, and I look forward to being here again. Thank you very much.
James Griffin, a Women's Fair Practice Coordinator for O'Hare, Local 777, and I one of the first Push choir members a long time ago.
My name's Keenan Short. I'm employed by the government, but I work for my family. All right. Thank you for Push. Thank you all, everything that y'all doing for us.
Hello, my name is LaToya Winfrey. I'm from Midway Airport. I'm a federal employee. Thank you guys so much.
Good morning, Operation Push. My name is Regina Little, and I'm a TSA officer at O'Hare Airport. Thank you all so much for your support. We appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Deborah Thomas. I'm a federal employee, and I'm so happy to be here today. And it's sad to say I've lived here all my life. This is my first time in this beautiful church, and it's sad that it took this occasion to bring me here, but I'll be back again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christine Vitale. I'm the Legislative Political Coordinator for AFGE 777, and I am also a TSA officer. Thank you for all your help and support.
Now, we want to meet with these workers right after the broadcast because we're going to reform our labor division. It's more than AFG out of work. They've shut down. So many companies are closing and laying off workers. When we fight back, we win. And Reverend Jackson often tells us that. And so we want to meet with you. It's okay, it's your first time. It won't be your last time, because as we fight with you, we want to fight for others who are also in a similar condition. Betty and John Mitchell and I were with some SEIU healthcare workers this past week who are fighting for better wages and health care. They provide health care to people, and they don't have health care and benefits themselves. And so we are going to have a citywide workers meeting and then a national workers meeting very soon. I want all of you to join us. And now it's offering time. It's your time to give. I know you want to give as we support these workers, as we support our organization. Our founder would not have us not support the fact that we have lights, we have heat. Are y'all warm in here today? If you're warm, you ought to show some kind of sign, write a check that helps keep the heat going. You can swipe, or you can write a check, or you can give cash. Make checks payable to Rainbow Push. Make your checks payable to Rainbow Push. You can come and swipe with your debit card. Please, everyone that's here, fill out the membership application so that we can get you in our database. Those of you, Bishop, come on up and help us close the broadcast and do the offering. How many of you give us $100 or more? $100 or more. Usher, she's raising a check over there. $100 or more. Those of you who would give $50 or more. Thank you, Gwen Jordan, $150. Those of you who would give $50 or more, raise your hand there and we'll come and get it if you don't feel like walking. Go ahead, Mayhem, play that harmonica. Those of you who would give $50 or more, raise your hand, raise your offering. Those of you who would give a membership, $35 is a membership. Those of you who would give something, won't you stand? It's not equal gifts, it's equal sacrifice. Thank the choir for $40.
Oh, happy days. Oh, happy days. Oh, when Jesus was. Oh, when he was. When Jesus was. He washed my sins away. Days.
Has everyone had an opportunity to give that wanted to give? Please fill out the membership applications. Even if you put nothing in it, put your name, your address, phone number so we can get you in our database.
together.